It all started with an unsettling sensation, a chilling murmur at the nape of my neck hinting that something was amiss. I had always taken pride in being the type of partner who placed trust in my spouse, who held a firm belief in the power of our commitments. However, in recent months, changes began to unfold that I could no longer overlook. Lydia, my partner for a decade, had become increasingly aloof. She seemed perpetually attached to her phone, chuckling at messages she kept to herself, putting in extra hours at work, and suddenly taking a keen interest in her looks like never before. She claimed it was for herself, for her self-assurance. Yet, it seemed as though it wasn't meant for her. I longed to trust her. I truly did. I persuaded myself that I was merely conjuring illusions, that my thoughts were simply a product of paranoia. Yet, it was on that fateful night that I stumbled upon the receipt. It was for a lavish dinner at a restaurant neither of us had ever visited, a charming venue downtown adorned with candlelit tables and renowned as the perfect setting for proposals among lovers. The receipt lay crumpled in her purse, hidden beneath a forgotten lip balm and a half-eaten granola bar. When I inquired about it, she stumbled over her words, mumbling something regarding a work meeting, her gaze flickering to the ground like a remorseful child ensnared in a falsehood. The work meeting, of course. I chose not to press her that night. I felt a surge of frustration, a strong urge to confront and seek clarity, yet a quiet voice within urged me to hold back and be patient, to collect my evidence. If I approached her prematurely, she'd refute all claims, leaving me to feel utterly foolish. So, I took the logical step that anyone in my position would take. I became a detective. I began with subtlety, watching her phone when she was distracted. She had become quite guarded about it, consistently positioning the screen out of my view, yet I remained patient. Before long, I began to see that same number recurring, messages arriving at all hours, sometimes just a brief, "Can't wait to see you," or "Missed you today." Every time I laid eyes on them, a wave of unease washed over me. The name linked to the number was Kara, yet I was aware of the truth. Kara never communicated in that manner. One evening, as Lydia enjoyed a shower, I discreetly unlocked her phone with the passcode I had committed to memory weeks prior. My hands trembled as I accessed her messages. There it was, stark and clear, a dialogue with an individual named Mark. Mark with the smooth compliments, the "I adore your laughter" messages, the "When will our paths cross again?" Lydia's replies left me feeling nauseated. She expressed to him how much she missed him, how he brought her to life, and how eagerly she anticipated their next lunch meeting. I considered confronting her right then and there, bursting into the bathroom and insisting on an explanation. However, I did not. There was a yearning within me for something beyond mere confrontation. I longed for her to experience the anguish I endured, the sense of betrayal. I longed for her universe to shatter just as she had shattered mine. Thus, I remained patient and meticulously arranged. The chance arrived earlier than I had anticipated. Lydia had been immersed in a significant project at her marketing firm, something she had been proudly discussing for weeks. A new client was involved, a startup keen to make a significant impact in the industry. She had a significant presentation lined up at their downtown office, and for days, she felt a mix of nerves and excitement building within her. On the morning of her presentation, I bid her farewell with a kiss and offered my best wishes for success. She smiled at me, her lips grazing my cheek, and I found myself pondering whether she had kissed Mark in the same manner. The moment she stepped outside, I leaped into action. Arranging the delivery was quite straightforward. A brief visit to the florist followed by a stop at the copy shop, and I gathered all the essentials. By noon, I found myself parked outside the client's office building, observing through the window as Lydia commanded the room, exuding confidence in her elegant black dress. The ideal expert, the committed partner. My jaw tightened as I reflected on the deceit she had spun to reach this point. Upon the arrival of the delivery driver, I presented him with the package along with the address. "Ensure it reaches Lydia Thompson directly," I instructed. "She anticipates it." She was not. Far from it. I observed from my vehicle as the driver made their way into the building, clutching the box tightly. 10 minutes later, Pandemonium broke loose. Through the glass, I observed Lydia halt mid-sentence as the box was presented to her. She opened it with a courteous smile, likely anticipating flowers or some other form of congratulatory acknowledgement. What she discovered instead were printed screenshots of her conversations with Mark, accompanied by a handwritten note that read, "You're not as clever as you think you are." The atmosphere grew heavy with silence, her complexion drained of color, fingers quivering as she turned the pages with unease. The team of men in suits exchanged puzzled glances before turning their attention to Lydia. The words eluded my ears, yet the fear in her eyes spoke volumes as she struggled to convey her thoughts. Attempted to rescue the presentation. It was unsuccessful. And then came Mark. I had researched him thoroughly as well. He was her colleague, a charming account manager with a family of his own, including a wife and 2 children. I had uncovered his address, his social media accounts, and even the school where his children went. I weighed the option of bringing his family into the situation, but ultimately, I opted for a more straightforward method. Following Lydia's unfortunate presentation, I trailed her to the coffee shop where she frequently met with Mark. She was oblivious to my presence at a table tucked away in the back, observing as Mark entered and settled into the chair opposite her. In soft whispers, Lydia's hands danced anxiously as she attempted to convey the events that had unfolded. Mark's expression shifted as he grasped the weight of the situation. That was the moment I decided to act. "Is it Mark?" I declared, looming over their table. His head jerked upward, his face transforming from bewilderment to understanding to dread in the blink of an eye. Lydia's complexion drained of color, her lips parting and closing in a frantic, fish-like manner. "Who on earth are you?" Mark insisted, yet his tone betrayed a hesitance that suggested he wasn't fully committed to seeking a response. I let a pile of photos spill onto the table, capturing moments of him and Lydia as they entered hotels, exited bars, and shared laughter in his car. "I am the husband," I stated. "The person to whom you've been untruthful. The one you've been deceiving while you pretended to build a life with my wife." Mark's face lost all its color. Lydia grasped my arm, her tears cascading down her face. "David, I think it would be best if we discuss this when we get home." "Oh, we will discuss it," I remarked, gently pushing her away. "However, I believe it's essential for Mark to clarify his position first. I've already sent copies of these photos to his wife, as you can see, and to the Human Resources Department at your organization. I thought they would value understanding the type of individuals they are bringing on board." You can't do that," Mark stammered. "You'll destroy me. You've already destroyed yourself," I retorted. "Did you really believe there would be no repercussions for your actions? That you could simply glide through existence, dismantling the lives of others, and remain unseen?" Lydia collapsed in despair, tears streaming down her face as she buried her hands in them, while Mark remained motionless, caught in the moment. I began to walk away, but not without striking the last decisive note. "Oh, and Lydia," I remarked, casting a glance back over my shoulder. "There's no need to return. The locks have been changed, your belongings are in storage, and I've already reached out to a lawyer. Best of luck trying to clarify this to your folks." Her cries trailed behind me as I stepped outside, yet I refused to glance back. After what felt like an eternity, a sense of liberation washed over me. In the weeks that ensued, Lydia made attempts to connect, offering apologies, explanations, and assurances of transformation. I turned a blind eye to each and every one of them. Mark's spouse initiated divorce proceedings, and he lost his job following an HR inquiry into the images and messages I had shared. I concentrated on reconstructing my existence, progressing gradually with each step. Though the journey was challenging, the reward made it all worthwhile. Lydia and Mark had taken the decisions. Now they were compelled to coexist with them. At last, I was liberated to embrace my own life.